out.
She did it. She did it.
She
actually did it. She managed to make me really happy at the end.
She did do that, didn't she?
She managed to she pulled it off. I didn't think it could be done, but I thought if anybody could do it, it was Suze. By gum, Suze has done it again.
You were doubting her last episode.
It's less that I was doubting her and more that I was doubting that anybody was capable of it.
And then?
Let me just...
Pour one out for Suze.
Pour one out for Suze.
A toast to Suze.
Very, very much. Holy shit, what an ending.
What an ending indeed. Any initial takeaways before we dive in? I mean, there was weeping.
I literally I did cry several times, which is not atypical for me. I cry a lot, but I cried quite a lot.
We did a live reaction to the end of Mockingjay for our patrons.
Yes.
And we cried a lot.
It was deeply moving. The book was in the freezer. While I was listening, I did put the book in the freezer for a minute there when I thought, by the way, welcome to a podcast called Wheel Takes. It's usually about the Wheel of Time, but today it's about Mockingjay, the Hunger Games trilogy. Who are you?
I'm Allie, and I have read all the Hunger Games except for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
I am Gus, and I have read all of the Hunger Games except for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's so fun to say. Oh, that's so
Can't
cool.
Relate. On my end, on the Wheel of Time.
You've got 4 books left. 5 books left? 5 books? 4 or 5 books? Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in the realm of 4 or 5 books left. Whew. But one day I will be able to celebrate like you are celebrating right now.
And how do I feel? Guess what? We're going to be hearing that a lot today.
She stuck the landing.
Holy hell. This podcast only contains spoilers for what I've already read, which is today what Allie's already read, which is the entire Hunger Games trilogy, but not the prequel.
Yep.
And isn't that fucking swell?
My scratchy voice is brought to you today by a cold.
By the lingering dregs of the upper respiratory illness that we both had last week, which was why we didn't release anything.
Yeah. Colds. Did you have plans to speak eloquently this week?
To do anything?
Go fuck yourself.
Good luck.
I missed our old fake advertisements.
Yeah, they're so more fun than the real advertisements.
It's so funny to me that we have them now. Like
it's weird.
So weird. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to find where we left off. Hold on. There we go. All right, Gus.
Yes.
All right. Anything you want to say before we dive in? Any thoughts? Any initial reactions other than the banana?
It's really good. It's really sad. This first chapter is like pornographically depressing.
Pornographically depressing.
That's a weird couple of words to stick together.
You certainly put words together just now.
But you get what I'm going for.
Oh,
you understand
I do.
The premise.
I know what you mean. It's like
deeply,
oh God,
deeply depressing for a minute there, and then it's not anymore. Now I must confess I didn't really take notes because I was too in it.
You were too in it.
Unfortunately, that does happen.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So, all right. Yeah, and it's hard during live streams because you don't want to be like on your phone.
Yeah.
I get it. But, excuse me, you'll just have to recreate for us the delight and joy that you experience and the pain and suffering that, of course, we love watching you experience as well for us right here, right now.
Yep.
All right, ready?
For the beginning, no, but yes, take it away.
Real or not real?
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. I am on fire.
I'm having a terrible time. Actually, I'm having a great... This is horrible.
The balls of flame that erupted from the parachutes shot over the barricades, through the snowy air, and landed in the crowd. I was just turning away when one caught me, ran its tongue up the back of my body, and transformed me into something new.
Yes, she loses her skin, a lot of it.
A creature as unquenchable as the sun.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, you were pretty sure Prim was dead last chapter.
Oh yeah, she's dead as shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, Gale, you fucking dick.
I mean, we can't be sure.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are.
I mean, it was the plan that he
was
implemented
Gale's
either
plan.
way. Yeah.
It was Coin, the piece of shit. Oh, man. That was great.
Oh, my God. I can't. I mean, do we want to really quickly? I mean, we will get to it again.
I will
but...
insert belatedly the audio of me responding both to something Gale does and something Coin does. Actually, I might be able to just play it.
While you're pulling that up, I'm going to try my absolute hardest to get through this reading without crying.
Do you want some water? Oh, not coughing, crying. Okay.
Oh, well, that too. But without crying because I utterly failed to do that during the live reaction.
Well, it's not easy.
I didn't read then, but I don't know. Somehow reading it aloud makes it so much harder to get. Like, I teared up at the end of both of the Hunger Games books so far. So we'll see if it's an even 3 for 3. Who is going to be the reader for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes since we're both
going to take turns.
Timers? You're right. That's the best way. But you're so good at it. It's hard to compete.
No, you're fantastic. Come on.
Oh, you're so nice. If we ever have kids, can you imagine how lit the story time will be, though?
I think that'd be fun. Not to, toot our own horns, I guess.
I mean, I'm just saying, I think that would be a particular strength of ours.
All right, hold on. I found it.
Oh, my gosh. This is one of my favorite things that's ever happened. Now I understand why you all like this.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but this is when Snow gets it.
He's right. We did. The point of my arrow shifts upward.
I know what she's gonna do.
I release the string, and President Coin collapses over the side of the balcony and plunges to the ground.
Yeah!
Dead.
Better! Yeah!
I blew out the microphone.
Fuck you! Fuck you, you piece of shit!
We were waiting for this.
That was a good time.
We were so bummed last episode. We were like, just wait.
That was a good time. All right.
Oh, did you want to play the Gale one too? Or do you want to wait
Let's
until
wait until
that
we get
happens?
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was Gus's reaction.
Just a couple highlights from my live reacting.
Yeah, that was Gus's reaction to Coin's death.
It was great.
And it was everything. Okay. I'm going to just keep reading this section if you don't mind.
Read as much as you want.
It's
Go ahead,
really
please.
beautiful writing.
Please.
I mean, honestly, Suze just fucking nails this. So I'm just going to let her take a bow for a second, even though it's the most devastating thing ever. A fire mutt knows only a single sensation, agony. No sight, no sound, no feeling except the unrelenting burning of flesh. Perhaps there are periods of unconsciousness, but what can it matter if I can't find refuge in them? I am Cinna's bird, ignited, flying frantically to escape something inescapable. The feathers of flame that grow from my body, beating my wings only fans the blaze. I consume myself, but to no end. Finally, my wings begin to falter. I lose height and gravity pulls me into a foamy sea the color of Phoenix eyes. I float on my back, which continues to burn beneath the water, but the agony quiets to pain. When I am adrift and unable to navigate, that's when they come, the dead. The ones I loved fly as birds in the open sky above me, soaring, weaving, calling me to join them. I want so badly to follow them, but the seawater saturates my wings, making it impossible to lift them. The ones I hated have taken to the water, horrible scaled things that tear my salty flesh with needle teeth, biting again and again, dragging me beneath the surface. The small white bird, tinged in pink, dives down, buries her claws in my chest, and tries to keep me afloat. No, Katniss, no, you can't go. But the ones I hated are winning, and if she clings to me, she'll be lost as well. Prim, let go. And finally she does. Deep in the water, I'm deserted by all. There's only the sound of my breathing, the enormous effort it takes to draw the water in, push it out of my lungs. I want to stop, try to hold my breath, but the sea forces its way in and out against my will. Let me die. Let me follow the others. I beg whatever holds me here. There's no response. So, I mean, it's just, I'll stop there.
It's sad.
So that we can talk about this, but like, fuck Sue. I mean, it's just, so she's got this whole thing and she gets morphling, of course, to deal with the pain.
Well, yeah.
And Gus, you've said that Prim's death was kind of the bookend that we, I mean, not needed is the wrong word, but
No,
that was
but
kind of
it's you've come full circle, right? It's the sign that we have become the thing we are trying to destroy, essentially. And then she really like goes, now in case you didn't get it before, we're going to have Coin propose another Hunger Games.
Right. Yeah. She's like, the cycle continues until
Yeah.
Katniss makes a decision, until
But no,
one
it doesn't.
person makes a decision to break that cycle.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me that this happens because we got into this to save Prim, and then it became a completely different co-opted thing.
Save everyone.
Save everyone, but then it kind of wasn't save everyone. Then it was put Coin in charge.
Then somebody went, well, okay, but when we say save everyone, do we mean everyone?
They were like, while we're doing that, though, let's make sure that I end up on top. Not because I'm the best person for the job, but because I want power. So, it's very realistic, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want Prim to die.
Oh, no one wants a little beautiful girl to die.
I didn't think she would. I didn't want it.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think for Suze to stick the landing like she did, she needed us to really walk through the dark.
Yeah, she had to go all the way there so she could come back.
And writing like this is why I get mad when people are like, YA. I mean, this is
phenomenal.
I mean, phenomenal. Yeah, I get so annoyed when people are like, oh, this stuff is for children, so it's not good. I go, Pixar has some of the best narrative storytelling I've heard in a long time. By the way, the WGA reached a deal this week.
Yeah, they did. Yay!
And we're really happy.
We're very excited. Still waiting on SAG, but
we're still waiting to hear what the terms are.
Talk to SAG, but yeah, from what we know, it seems cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And thank you to everybody who donated and has played a role so far,
Yes.
even in just offering support.
Yes.
And educating people about how important these strikes are. You all are amazing, and it's truly because of the collective work of everybody that this labor movement was able to succeed the way that it has, the way that, fingers crossed, they have, but the way that it sounds like they have. It's the reason why SAG will succeed, SAG-AFTRA will succeed, and why the labor movements that are just beginning will succeed. It's because we are all sick of this shit. Anyway, and what better to remind us being sick of people's shit than the Hunger Games? These things frighten me. I try to return to the deep to make sense of them, but there's no going back. Gradually, I am forced to accept who I am. A badly burned girl with no wings, with no fire, and no sister.
Very sad.
Fuck, Suze.
Very sad.
So she's in a capital hospital. Kudzu is alive.
Good for her.
But I won't say she's well.
No, well, I wouldn't
lost a
be.
child, and
I would be very unwell.
Kind of speaking of Kudzu, and we'll get more to her, but Gus.
Yes.
It seems as though she's not really able to live in 12. I think that's fair, but she's kind of...
Yeah,
she and Katniss have a bit of a distance still.
I mean, that's Kudzu, kinda. She we're at a point now where Katniss is an adult, so this is a little bit more understandable than when she was 12, 13, 11.
Yeah.
But, she handles grief how she handles grief, and it appears she handles grief by running away from the things that remind her of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not on me to tell people how they should and should not handle grief and what is and is not the appropriate thing to do.
Totally.
I think it makes sense that she is like, I need to completely disconnect myself from this. I think it's unfortunate that she, as a result of this, appears to have really severed her relationship with Katniss, but I think Katniss already kind of severed her relationship with Kudzu.
Yeah, I think
as a result of Kudzu's behavior after Katniss's dad died. Have we ever come up with a name for him?
No, do we want to? It's got to be a plant.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Do we want it to be a funny name? Because I kind of do.
Yeah, kind of. Bramble.
Moss.
Moss. It's moss.
You like moss? Moss.
It's moss.
Moss Evergreen?
Moss Evergreen.
All right, he's Moss.
Everdeen. Sorry.
Oh my God.
No, it's Evergreen Everdeen.
Evergreen Everdeen.
His name was Evergreen Everdeen.
A happy accident.
Evergreen
that
and
just turned
Kudzu
into his name.
had
Evergreen
Primrose
and Kudzu.
and Water Potato.
Water Potato.
Glimmer, such a dumb name. Katniss, your
My
name
name is that.
is water
that
potato.
remains my favorite thing maybe you've ever said.
Thank you.
Actually, no, it's up there though. There's a lot of good jokes you've made. It's hard to pick one.
Oh, shucks.
But it's so complicated. Grief is so complicated. It's so hard. And yes, I think that I listened to this song recently that was on TikTok. I don't know what the song's name is, unfortunately, but they talked about how it kind of like centered around the idea of like you were wounded or hurt people. You were wounded, so you wounded me, but the cuts aren't equal.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? So like while there's an explanation for Kudzu, and I think I've said this before, while there's an explanation for Kudzu's behavior, and while we hold space for that, it still doesn't necessarily excuse how she repeatedly has traumatized Katniss as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those hot nuance. It's complicated. There's a lot to unpack their things where it's like, I think Prim was really the thing that was kind of holding this family together. She was the glue between Kudzu and Katniss because they both had an uncomplicated love for Prim, but a complicated love for each other.
Yeah.
And
well, Katniss understandably resents Kudzu for everything she did when Evergreen died.
And that's totally understandable of Katniss.
Yeah, that's kind of hard.
You know,
I get it.
It's unfortunate where it's like you can kind of appreciate how complicated it is for both of them because like certainly I can't imagine what it is to lose the love of your life. I hope I never have to endure that. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're still responsible for these two little girls that you need to make sure are fed. I mean...
Yeah, but I mean, like, again, this time Katniss is admittedly young, but she's an adult. She's taking care of herself.
Yeah.
This is different to me.
It is different.
In a lot of ways from the other one. It's still who her character is, but admittedly this time she is in a position where I think this is... I'm not like mad that she runs to this other district. I'm not upset with her for it. She's doing what she has to do. Unfortunately, it is unfortunate that this means she's kind of distanced herself from Katniss, but I don't think Katniss is particularly upset about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I think I think Katniss gets it. I think they were never going to be besties,
and
right?
They still kind of keep in touch.
But they do keep in touch.
Yeah. Not much, but from what I recall, they talk. They just aren't like... It seems as though for both of them, talking is too much of a reminder of Prim, is my read on this.
Yeah.
Is that the as you say, their kind of dynamic was dictated by Prim in a lot of ways. I don't know how much of that is in the text and how much of that is subtext or stuff that I'm just kind of imagining. But that's always kind of been my read, you know?
I think we've been primed and conditioned a little bit by media to anticipate that there's this thing that will happen where it's like one day your parents will just wake up and see how they've hurt you and you'll have a big hug it out moment and you'll be able to forgive them while you have that big hug it out moment. And those things aren't always true.
Well, people are people. People are imperfect.
Yeah. And I kind of like that she didn't give us that clean resolution of the relationship between Kudzu and Katniss.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Suzanne does a good job of being like, yeah, sometimes you love someone, but they have hurt you a lot. And that love, because of that, becomes complicated. And I love, I
it's
think
very well done.
Much of media has kind of glossed over that a lot, where it's like, this father that's never spoken to their kid. And it's like, oh, I've realized that I've been a shithead this whole time. And like, then we get to have it hug it out. And it's like happily ever after. And that just doesn't necessarily happen.
It can.
It can.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
But the reason why I bring this up is because I remember being so angry that she did that Kudzu moved and wasn't, that they didn't have that moment where Kudzu recognized.
You were?
Yeah.
I had zero reaction to that.
Well, you're an adult.
Yeah, no, I just think it's funny because I didn't even realize that this was a thing that merited discussion. Kudzu moved away. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Really mad.
Oh, I had zero reaction.
At 16. I feel like I understand the nuances of it a little a lot more. But that also brings me to my other thing that I think Suzanne Collins introduces really brilliantly at a time where I don't think we were, maybe I'm just unaware of what the conversations were at the time, but like generational trauma and what it does, I don't think was as talked about. Maybe it was just that I didn't really think about it the way that I do now. Maybe it's just my journey. And so I appreciate it a lot more now that, like, I had grandparents that had been through a lot, right? We talk about our grandparents. We're like, oh, yep, they are, finicky about money because they're depression babies or whatever it is that their trauma is that they went through. But I had never really heard my parents talk about their experiences with, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, but like, I guess what that did to their children, having them have that mentality, I don't think for our family was super talked about. Do you know what I mean? That I felt like I later kind of made the connections when I found out about when I learned about generational trauma.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a symptom of mental health awareness being more talked about.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you get what I'm getting at, though?
I get what you're getting at, yeah.
I just it struck me more this time around how she kind of layers throughout the ways in which maybe also because I'm looking at it from an adult perspective rather than a teenager perspective, the ways in which the adult's trauma lingers, continues, has informed this new generation and how they raised them and all of, I don't know. It just struck me this time reading in a way that, I think, I think maybe because I am older and am more able to put myself in the position of like, wow, how awful it would be to be an adult in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It just struck me how good of a job she does of just kind of layering in the adult trauma without ever going like, and the adult trauma. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, hey, Mitch never really talks about Maisley.
Well, yeah, because the Katniss is a child. And it's really inappropriate for an adult most of the time, most situations, to trauma dump on a child because a child cannot handle that. They're not equipped.
No.
So, yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I think it's deftly done. I think it's well handled. I don't know. I like Kudzu. Haymitch is probably my favorite character.
I mean, you're not wrong. He's a great character.
Yeah, no, I totally get you. But anyway, back to the really depressing shit.
I just think she does a really good job.
She does. She does a phenomenal job.
She really understood her thesis, and
Yes,
God,
did.
isn't that important?
Yes.
So, yeah, during this whole thing, she kind of is like part awake, part asleep. She sees Haymitch, she sees Cinna, she sees Deli, she sees her father, and her father is singing all 4 stanzas of The Hanging Tree.
Our favorite song. Here it is. Anyway.
Yeah, she says, my father sings all 4 stanzas of The Hanging Tree and reminds me that my mother, who sleeps in a chair between shifts, isn't to know about it.
Yeah, I remember this.
What do you think that means?
Well, her mom got specifically mad when she learned that he taught them the song. So it's a reference back to how that happened. Because she got all pissed off when she heard them, because it's a banned song.
Right.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about why that might be banned?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Something to related to resistance, or I don't know. Maybe it references something that happened, some history thing.
Maybe. A brief appearance by President Coin clinches it.
Boo!
Don't worry, I've saved him for you.
Garbage.
Katniss isn't able to talk for a while.
Yeah, that's a trauma response.
Yep. And she learns what happened in the war. Do you want to kind of describe what happened? What did we miss?
Well, yeah.
What did Katniss miss?
It went down pretty quick, didn't it? Because they all thought Snow bombed the kids, and then everybody kind of turned on him, and that was that.
Yeah. So the Capitol fell the day the parachutes went off. President Cloyne leads Panem now, and troops have been sent out to put down the small remaining pockets of Capitol resistance. On President Snow, he's being held prisoner, awaiting trial and most certain execution.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
On my assassination team, Cressida and Pollux have been sent out into the districts to cover the wreckage of the war. Gale, who took 2 bullets in an escape attempt, is mopping up peacekeepers in 2. Pete is still in the burn unit. He made it to the city circle after all. On my family, my mother buries her grief in work.
That sounds right.
And she says, having no work, grief buries me.
Yes, this part's really sad. This part's really, really sad. So we should probably take a quick ad break first. Welcome back. Time to be sad.
Did you just get buried in ad breaks? Anyway. Yeah, so all that keeps Katniss going is that she gets to kill Snow. Any thoughts on that?
Bad,
as a coping
unhealthy.
mechanism?
I've been saying this from the beginning. Not a good thing. And I was right, by the way, that wasn't her ultimate thing. I knew it wouldn't be because I was like, that's a bad message.
Yeah.
That's not good.
And Katniss gets to...
And again, not in an Inigo Montoya way.
Yeah.
That's different. How is it different? We talked about that once.
We did talk about that once. Katniss is given a room in the president's mansion to share with her mother, and her mother is... Kudzu's never there.
Yeah, well.
And she just keeps thinking about, just kind of her life and telling herself facts about herself.
She recaps everything. She tries to sort out her trauma and her very unwell mental state. And then she is this when she talks to Gale at some point and I started yelling, or is that later? That must have been later.
Say that again?
Well, because I don't remember much until Gale comes up to her and makes her sister's death about his dick.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just this surreal thing. She's got this therapist whose name is Dr. Aurelius, and he just kind of falls asleep in a chair next to her rather than talking to her. And Haymitch tells her that the President Snow has been tried and found guilty, sentenced to execution. And
Good.
Katniss smells roses.
Joy.
As I creep down the hall, the odor becomes overpowering. Perhaps not as strong as the actual mutts, but purer, because it's not competing with sewage and explosives. I turn a corner and find myself staring at 2 surprised guards. Not peacekeepers, of course. There are no more peacekeepers.
Oh, right. She picks the rose and talks to him, and he's like, hey, here is my monologue where I tell you about how I'm actually the good guy, which means I got a bingo square and a bingo.
Yeah.
And actually, I got 3 whole bingos.
And
I thought I was
Paler...
going to get 4, but I didn't. What a name.
So yeah, the guards try to stop her, and Paler overrules them and tells them to let her in. She says, on my authority, she has a right to anything behind that door.
Oh, this is a lady who ends up being president, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's cool.
I almost was like, I don't know, does she? And then I was like, wait, he's read this.
Yes, I have, yes.
I'm too used to gaslighting you.
You no longer can.
Or
have
alighting
to.
you. And she goes in, and the smell is overpowering. And she sees one of them, a magnificent white bud just beginning to open. I pull my sleeve over my hand so that my skin won't actually have to touch it, take up a pair of pruning shears, and have just positioned them on the stem when he speaks. That's a nice one. My hand jerks, the shears snap shut, severing the stem.
All right, now I know I'm not team Katniss kills him, but I'm like, you could snip the tip of his pinky finger off. I think that is okay.
The colors are lovely, of course, but nothing says perfection like white. Which, loaded.
Interesting wording. I know
Just
that's not what he means.
But I mean, I feel like Suzanne Collins
knows what
did
she's
it
on about.
Purpose. And so she has the rose and she's talking to him.
And this part, essentially what they discuss, he's like, well, sorry that thing happened to your sister. That kind of sucks.
He says, I wanted to tell you how very sorry I am about your sister.
Wouldn't have had to go down that way if it were my choice. And she's like, if you what now? And he's like, are you dumb? That's not what he says, but he's like, look, as Gus has been saying all along, I was way too fixated on this 17, 18-year-old girl. Way too focused on you. Really
weirdly
dumb,
obsessed with her.
Dumb plan. Should not have done that. And then because of my dumbness in this respect, Coin got the drop on both of us. By the way, also definitely she killed your sister because, like, think for more than 5 minutes. It doesn't make any fucking sense for me to just murder a bunch of kids when I've already lost.
Yeah, what am I? A weird supervillain?
He goes like,
I mean, yes, but like I'm a supervillain with a brain.
He's like, I'm the worst, but, you know, I'm not that particular brand of the worst.
He's like, I'm the worst, but I'm not dumb.
Except that one
when
time
you are dumb.
where I could have put your sister in the games, but instead I did you.
Yeah, which was dumb.
That was dumb.
That actually was dumb. Yeah. And Gus, I feel like the world is very lucky that you sometimes are not bad people. Because both of us were like, that would be a much better plan.
Well,
that would
if you
break
really
her
want
for
to
sure.
break her spirit, oh boy.
It's lucky that we're nice people. And we would never do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, so wasteful, so unnecessary. Anyone could see the game was over by that point. In fact, I was just about to issue an official surrender when they released those parachutes.
She's like, say
And
psych
she goes,
right now.
when they released the parachutes?
Yes, I know it's a serious, sad moment, but I needed to add a little
We
levity.
need to add levity. Well, you really didn't think I gave the order, did you? Forget the obvious fact that I'd had a working hovercraft at my disposal. I'd have been using it to make an escape. But that aside, what purpose could that have served? We both know I'm not above killing children, but I'm not wasteful. I take life for very specific reasons. And there was no reason for me to destroy a pen full of capital children. None at all. And that's true.
That is true. That's just a dumb thing for him to do.
Yeah. I love that he's like, we both know I'm not above killing kids. I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
Consider the entire premise.
I'm not a liar. Like, I'm not above killing children. But, you know, that's got reasons behind it. Like, this is just dumb. And you know what? He's not wrong.
It is dumb.
And I kind of live for the fact that Snow's like, I mean, Gail's kind of dumb, Katniss. You could probably do better.
You know what? He's right.
Yeah. Please, like they say with the TikTok sound, please stop making me agree with President Snow.
Yeah.
And Katniss is like, he's lying. Obviously, he's lying. He must be lying. Is he lying?
No. I don't know. No.
Yeah.
No. Coin's the worst.
And he says, however, I must concede it was a masterful move on Coin's part. The idea that I was bombing our own helpless children instantly snapped whatever frail allegiance my people still felt to me. There was no real resistance after that. Did you know it aired live?
Brutal.
You can see Plutarch's hand there. And in the parachutes. Well, it's that sort of thinking that you look for in a head game maker, isn't it? I'm sure he wasn't gunning for your sister, but these things happen. Suspicious that it aired live.
A little bit.
I mean, I know they had cameras and everything, but the fact that they were like, oh yeah, Snow's definitely going to blow up these kids.
Yeah, a little weird.
A little weird.
I mean, admittedly, it was the square outside of the Capitol building where the army was about to take it, so I get it.
Yeah. I'm not with Snow now. I'm in special weaponry back in 13 with Gale and BT, looking at the designs based on Gale's traps that played on human sympathies. The first bomb killed the victims. The second, the rescuers.
Because I've had enough of this, dude.
Remembering Gale's words, BT and I have been following the same rule book President Snow used when he hijacked PETA.
God, Gale's the worst.
My failure was being so slow to grasp Coin's plan, to let the capital and districts destroy one another, and then step in to take the power with 13 barely scratched. Make no mistake, she was intending to take my place right from the beginning. I shouldn't be surprised. After all, it was 13 that started the rebellion that led to the Dark Days, and then abandoned the rest of the districts when the tide turned against it. But I wasn't watching Coin. I was watching you, Mockingjay, and you were watching me. I'm afraid we have both been played for fools. I refuse for this to be true. Some things even I can't survive. I utter my first words since my sister's death. I don't believe you.
He's like, I don't give a shit.
Snow shakes his head in mock disappointment. Oh, my dear Miss Everdeen, I thought we had agreed not to lie to one another.
It's a good line. It's a good line.
Dang, Suze. And that is the end of chapter 25. Dang, Suze. She's really good at the end of her chapters.
Yes, she is.
All right. Chapter 26, Gus. I know you don't have any notes for us. Out in the hall, I find Paler standing in exactly the same spot. Did you find what you were looking for? I hold up
then some.
the white bud in answer, and then stumble past her. I must have made it back to my room because the next thing I know, I'm filling a glass with water from the bathroom faucet and sticking the rose in it. So Katniss is pretty shaken by this.
She's having a bad time.
You know, she sinks to the floor. She's freaking out. She's twisting her bracelet that says that she's mentally unstable like a tourniquet.
Yeah, she's trying to figure out who she can talk to about this, and ultimately she goes to Haymitch, and Haymitch has already trashed his room.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you know, it's Haymitch, and I laugh my ass. She dumps water on him, and he immediately just starts laying into the air about him with a knife.
As he does, as he's done before.
Every time.
Yeah, she thinks to herself, there are two possibilities, although the details associated with them may vary. First, as I've believed, that the Capitol sent in that hovercraft, dropped the parachutes, and sacrificed its children's lives, knowing the recently arrived rebels would go to their aid. There's evidence to support this. The Capitol seal on the hovercraft, the lack of any attempt to blow the enemy out of the sky, and their long history of using children as pawns in their battle against the districts. Then there's Snow's account, that a Capitol hovercraft manned by rebels bombed the children to bring a speedy end to the war. But if this was the case, why didn't the Capitol fire on the enemy? Did the element of surprise throw them? Had they no defenses left? Children are precious to 13, or so it has always seemed. Well, not me, maybe.
They were down to like one city block. What kind of... They had nothing.
What?
How are they supposed to fire... Katniss, I know you're just justifying this to yourself, but come on. It was your guys. It was your guys.
Yeah. Once I had outlived my usefulness, I was expendable. Although I think it's been a long time since I've been considered a child in this war. And why would they... Well, considering they draft 14-year-olds.
Yes.
I mean... And why would they do it, knowing their own medics would likely respond and be taken out by the second blast? They wouldn't. They couldn't. Snow's lying, manipulating me as he always has, hoping to turn me against the rebels and possibly destroy them. Yes, of course. Then what's nagging at me? Those double exploding bombs, for one.
Yeah, it's literally Gale's bombs. And she's like, I don't know who I can talk to about this.
Yeah.
Everyone I can talk to about this is dead or Gale, and I'm not talking to him about it. And the other one is Haymitch, and he's dead to the world. And she goes and talks to him.
Yeah. And so she's bothered by...
And he's a dick.
Yeah, she's bothered by the fact that the Capitol had this weapon, or the rebels had this weapon, and it's like, not that the Capitol didn't, but the rebels definitely did, and it was Gale and PT's brainchild. And also, Snow made no escape attempt.
Yes. Because he was surrendering. Weird. He couldn't get out. He didn't have shit.
Yeah. And she thinks about how Boggs told her, if your immediate answer isn't coin, then you're a threat. You're the face of the rebellion. You may have more influence than any other single person. Outwardly, the most you've ever done is tolerated her. So, yeah. So feels like she's going crazy. She is like, everyone I trust is dead except for except for Haymitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, gotta talk to Haymitch because Pete is unconscious.
Haymitch is a dick.
Yeah.
He makes a joke about boy trouble, and that was unkind because her sister died, bro. But, you know, I get it.
Yeah, and so she runs away from him because he makes a joke at her expense. But, you know, I think he's also kind of traumatized. Yeah,
Haymitch?
Maybe just a smidge.
No. Surely not. I mean,
I can't imagine that. I feel like he probably is also on to the fact that the Capitol did not kill their own kids.
Yes, I expect so.
And I'm sure that seeing a bunch of children murdered has probably really fucked with him.
Yeah.
Not to mention he now, I think, has access to alcohol.
Yes, he does. A lot of it. So that's too bad.
And so he's just in a place. And so he made a kind of mean joke at her expense and she runs away.
But don't worry, because guess who's back? Back again. I couldn't believe it. Effie fucking Trinket
Yes.
walks in with her with Katniss' prep team, who are the only living prep team remaining. They executed all the other prep teams. Okay. Goodness. And she chats with them.
Yeah. Oh, but she had run away from Haymitch.
Yes.
And when the guards finally locate me, I'm sitting on the floor of the wardrobe, tangled in silk, screaming my head off. I fight them at first until they convince me they're trying to help, peel away the choking garments, and escort me back to my room. On the way, we pass a window, and I see a gray, snowy dawn spreading across the Capitol. Yeah, so Haymitch is waiting for her.
They don't really
and
talk.
Her prep team finds her and is basically like, we need to make you up because it's the day of the execution.
Yeah, but before we do that, we have to have the most depressing meeting of all time with President the Worst Coin.
Well, first, before we do that, Gus, as you said, Effie
shows up. I couldn't believe that. I was like, well, I'm happy. She's a ridiculous character. She's the worst. She's utterly orange cat, one brain cell Effie here. Just fucking shows up and is like, here we are. It's time to continue doing the stuff. PR.
Yeah. And I guess apparently Effie was imprisoned after Katniss's escape, but apparently Plutarch and Haymitch had a hard time keeping her alive.
Yes.
I assume she stood some kind of trial while
Probably,
Katniss was enduring her stuff. And
well, yes.
Haymitch and Plutarch tried to make sure that they didn't execute one of Katniss's friends. Well, not friends. It's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Venia tells her that they're the only prep team still alive. All the other stylists from the Quarter Quell were killed.
That's sad.
And she doesn't say who specifically killed them. So they could have been executed by either side. Not awesome. But also, it's complicated. We need to have a it's complicated button. Like I don't know, something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But who should show up but Gale?
Oh my God, this part. Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up. I'm coming. All right.
For me, taking care of your family, he says.
Fuck you. Fuck
Shoot straight,
you.
okay?
Fuck you.
That was
Fuck
just a
you.
means
Fuck you.
to an
Fuck you.
end?
Fuck you. 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 Fuck you.
That was just a means to an end,
I
taking care of Prim and Kudzu.
Because I've had enough of this dude.
That's not sufficient anymore.
And
it isn't, and it has never been. He's the worst. He's like, oh, your sister died, and like my whole thing was taking care of your family, and I didn't do that, so I guess I'm out. And I'm
Can't
like,
help but notice that Gale's whole family is still alive.
Gale, have you ever considered? I don't even know what. Like, going off to District 2 and being the fucking fuck off forever brigade. God, this guy's awful. But yeah, because this conversation is she's like, was it you? And he's like, I don't think so. And she was like, doesn't matter. Close enough. Probably was. Could have been. We'll never be able to be sure it wasn't.
Yeah. At some point also, I think Katniss starts to realize, oh, yeah, wait, this is important and I skipped it. Because when she's thinking about Coin, and this is important for later, suddenly I'm thinking about Prim, who is not yet 14, not yet old enough to be granted
she
the
shouldn't have
title
been able to go in the first
of
place.
soldier, but somehow working on the front lines. How did such a thing happen? That my sister would have wanted to be there, I have no doubt. That she would be more capable than many older than she is a given.
See, this is the thing. Coin is a better despotic ruler than Snow, because realizing that she couldn't get Katniss, she went for her sister.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I'll break her this way. But for all of that, someone very high up would have had to approve putting a 13-year-old in combat. Did Coin do it, hoping that losing Prim would push me completely over the edge, or at least firmly on her side?
See, I think what's funny here is that I spent these entire 2 chapters going like, oh my God, it was Coin. We know it was Coin, which I don't think is the intended way to read this.
I wouldn't even have had to witness it. As in person, numerous cameras would be covering the city circle, capturing the moment forever. So anyway, Gale shows up, and this fuckface starts talking.
Must he? I'm excited about this because this is the last time he sees.
Imagine the audacity, really, of like your bomb killing someone's sister and then you going to them and whining about how she doesn't love you even though you took care of her family. I just want that to sink in. That's a lot of fucking audacity.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? That's wild. Wild. Yeah. So here's a little good writing. In the mirror, I watch my prep team. Unsure of where to go, they bump into one another a few times and then closet themselves in the bathroom. Iconic. Gail comes up behind me and we examine each other's reflection. I'm searching for something to hang on to. Some sign of the girl and the boy who met by chance in the woods 5 years ago and became inseparable. I'm wondering what would have happened to them if the Hunger Games had not reaped the girl. If she would have fallen in love with the boy. Married him even. And sometime in the future when the brothers and sisters had been raised up, escaped with him into the woods and left 12 behind forever. Would they have been happy out in the wild? Or would the dark, twisted sadness between them have grown up even without the capital's help? God, I friggin' love Suze.
She is the best.
Luckily for you, Katniss, you got into the Hunger Games, so you didn't have to be doomed to a lifetime of being Gale's wife.
That's the funniest thing anyone's ever said.
I have been holding back so much because I didn't want my opinion of Gale, which is that he is a flaming dumpster fire of male mediocrity.
Oh, he's the
made
worst.
Flesh.
He's the worst.
Flesh, well, made paper,
yeah.
I suppose. I didn't want that to influence you in some way, but you instantly hated him, and for that, I love you forever.
Pretty much the second he showed up on the page.
Among many
give or
things.
take 50 pages or so.
Yeah, I feel like definitely book 2, you drank the haterade.
Well, because I thought she was doing a bait and switchy thing with Edita, but she wasn't. She was being honest with me. I get it.
But I think that's kind of what's fun is that you were expecting a bait and switch and Suze was like, it's constantly, you're kind of expecting Suze to not give you exactly what she's giving you. You're kind of like, well, you're not going to deliver that promise. There's going to be a way that we avoid this or a bait and switch or whatever. And it's like, nope, I'm telling you what I'm giving you. I'm telegraphing it to you right now. I'm going to break your heart in this way. I'm going to make sure that this person is continuing to be the worst. And I mean, there is some hot nuance to be had about Gale, a bit, in that he is, of course, a traumatized 18, 19-year-old.
Oh, fuck him. We don't have to do that. Fuck Gale. We've gone over this before. Fuck this kid. He's a dick. He's an asshole. He ends up exactly where he should end up, and I hate him. Yeah, we can be whatever. Okay, yeah, nuance. What? Fuck Gale. Fuck Gale. He's emblematic of the concept of total war.
Yeah. I mean, and nothing really captures that so well as what he does right here. I brought you this. It's supposed to be symbolic. You're firing the last shot of the war. It's a single, ordinary arrow. What if I miss? Does Coin retrieve it and bring it back to me? Or just shoot Snow through the head herself? You won't miss. You didn't come see me in the hospital. Was it your bomb?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm so cool, man.
Neither does BT.
I'm the best.
Does it matter?
I didn't think they were going to use it to kill your sister.
You'll always be thinking about it. He waits for me to deny it. Why would you wait for her to deny it? Fuck you.
Because he's a stupid little pissy
He
motherfucker
wants her to be like,
who wants her to be like,
"No,
no, it's okay.
I'll love you even though you killed my sister."
I know you didn't mean to.
And a bunch of children right in front of me.
This guy is such a jackass. God, he's the worst.
Yeah, he's waiting for her to go like, no. God,
Are there toxic men in ACOTAR?
Totally.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
I'm so excited for that journey for you. Even now I can see, he waits for me to deny it. I want to deny it, but it's true. Even now I can see the flash that ignites her, feel the heat of the flames, and I will never be able to separate that moment from Gale.
Yeah. Wow, I wonder why.
My silence is my answer. Good for you. You don't owe him words.
Drop a train on him.
That was the one thing I had going for me. Taking care of your family. Fuck you.
My guy.
The bare fucking minimum was making sure that her mom and sister were okay while she was fighting for her life in the Hunger Games. What? If she died, would you have stopped taking care of them? You fuckface. God, I hate this kid.
And Coin over there, his best friend.
And he goes, shoot straight, okay?
Shoot you straight in the fucking face, you jackass. Ugh, God, he's the worst. And fictional.
I want to call him back and tell him that I was wrong.
No, you weren't.
That I'll figure out a way to
No,
make
you
peace with
won't.
this.
Don't.
To remember the circumstances under which he created the bomb. Take into account my own inexcusable crimes. Dig up the truth about who dropped the parachutes. Prove it wasn't the rebels. Forgive him. But since I can't, I'll just have to deal with the pain. So Effie kind of ushers her to her thing, and she says to everybody, come on, we've got an audience waiting. I know.
God, it's always the same.
It's just, she's so good at this. I mean, if her thesis is like, this is what reality TV is doing to people.
I think that's part of it.
I definitely do, though. I kind of think that in some ways the opposite is proven true, and now people are angry in some ways.
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, there was somebody on TikTok was saying, I kind of wonder if having like mega rich people have their own TV show, reality TV shows has kind of made people angry at them.
That's a different thing. What you're referring to is extraordinarily out of touch wealthy people doing like, you know, here's me talking on Instagram about how hard it is that my $5,000 espresso machine jams up every once in a while, and the technician that I own only, you know, took the day off on Saturday. That's different.
The technician I own.
Yeah. That's a different thing from I'm, you know, the dog's tail is wagging. I went on Survivor and, you know, I got a good edit and now I can't go to the grocery store in New York City without getting mobbed by people, you know, who are mad at me because I voted someone out. I think that's different.
You know, that's true. There is a voyeuristic quality to certain reality TV shows, and there's just some where I'm like, I can smell it coming. I can smell the like music turn into like them going, now talk about your dead mom.
Yeah.
Like I know it's coming, and it feels weird and exploitive that it's like, we're going to make these people who otherwise wouldn't have this money compete. And you know that they went through a casting process where like, in order to get on the show, it was like, tell me about your tragic backstory. So I kind of respected, there was this one girl on The Bachelor, and it was clear that he was trying to get this moment out of her.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Where it was clear he was like, so, you know, have you kind of been through anything like that? You know, like he told her something about himself and then was like, so, and she kind of went, nope, my life has been very easy.
I remember it was very funny.
And and then he sent her home, but I respected the shit out of that. I was like, good for you. Because you know the producers were like, all right, she's not going to cry for us to send her home. Yeah, and there are stories where it's like drive around in a limo with that girl until she cries, you know? And
yeah, not good.
There's that. Good. Yeah. So, you know what? You're right. And I also think it's that celebrity culture too of like, it kind of feels like they're not allowed to be people. Everything is public business. It's kind of gross. I'm expecting a production meeting in which Plutarch instructs me where to stand. It gives me my cue for shooting snow. Instead, I find myself sent into a room where 6 people sit around a table. Peta, Joanna, BT, Hamish, Annie, and Anabaria. They all wear the gray rebel uniforms from 13. No one looks particularly well. I wonder why.
Oh, this part, okay. Now, I was close to right about who voted which way. Because we paused, and I guessed who was going to vote what.
Yes, and your votes were?
I thought it was going to be Peta, no, obviously. Anabaria, yes, which she does.
Yeah.
Joanna, yes, absolutely, which does happen. I thought it was going to be BT, yes, and Hamish, no. And then Katniss was going to be the tiebreaker because I misunderstood what she was doing with this scene. Instead, we get, well, I'll let you take care of it.
And Katniss says, what's this? We're not sure, Hamish answers. It appears to be a gathering of the remaining victors. We're all that's left? The price of celebrity, says BT. We were targeted from both sides. The Capitol killed the victors they suspected of being rebels. The rebels killed those thought to be allied with the Capitol. Allied. My bad. That was me. Joanna scowls at Anabaria. So what's she doing here?
Oh, God, Anabaria.
She is protected under what we call the Mockingjay deal, says Coin as she enters behind me, wherein Katniss Everdeen agreed to support the rebels in exchange for captured victors' immunity. Katniss has upheld her side of the bargain, and so shall we. Anabaria smiles at Joanna. Don't look so smug, says Joanna. We'll kill you anyway. Sit down, please, Katniss, says Coin, closing the door. I take a seat between
Coin,
Annie and
you're the
BT,
worst.
carefully placing Snow's rose on the table. As usual, Coin gets right to the point. I've asked you here to settle a debate. Today we will execute Snow. In the previous weeks, hundreds of his accomplices in the oppression of Panem have been tried and now await their own deaths. However, the suffering in the districts has been so extreme that these measures appear insufficient to the victims. In fact, many are calling for a complete annihilation of those who held capital citizenship. However, in the interest of maintaining a sustainable population, we cannot afford this. Through the water in the glass, I see a distorted image of one of Peeta's hands, the burn marks.
Oh, Peeta.
We are both fire mutts now. My eyes travel up to where the flames licked across his forehead, singeing away his brows, but just missing his eyes. Those same blue eyes that used to meet mine and then flit away at school, just as they do now. So an alternative has been placed on the table. Since my colleagues and I can come to no consensus, it has been agreed that we will let the victors decide. A majority of 4 will approve the plan. No one may abstain from the vote. What has been proposed is that in lieu of eliminating the entire capital population, we have a final symbolic Hunger Games, using the children directly related to those who held the most power.
What a stupid fucking thing. What a dumb goddamn thing to propose.
Yeah.
What an imbecilic truly bottom of the barrel dumbassery here. I love it because he goes, well, we thought we might just slaughter the entire city, but we're not going to do that.
We can't do that because population.
I'm trying to. This is
as if they didn't need the population, they would have done it.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. But there's a specific kind of fallacy that this is, I believe, which is I'm going to invent a horrible scenario that doesn't have to exist, and then I'm going to give you my compromise scenario, which is really bad too, but it's better than this other thing that I invented.
So that I seem reasonable.
It's so stupid. Nobody's calling for them to kill the entire city. That's absurd.
I mean, I'm sure there are some people.
Okay, 5 people are calling for them to...
I'm sure there are some.
Yeah.
Listen, as much as we say, no one would say or do that. There are some people who would say
20 people. Joanna, that's it.
Joanna, that's it.
Joanna and 19 burner accounts. And Gail.
All 7 of us turn to her. What? Says Joanna. We hold another Hunger Games using capital children.
God, I hate you, Coin.
Are you joking? Asks Peeta. No. I should also tell you that if we do hold the games, it will be known it was done with your approval, although the individual breakdown of your votes will be kept secret for your own security. Was this Plutarch's idea? Asks Haymitch. It was mine. It seemed to balance the need for vengeance with the least loss of life. You may cast your votes. No, bursts out Peeta. I vote no, of course. We can't have another Hunger Games.
That's my boy.
Why not? Joanna retorts. It seems very fair to me. Snow even has a granddaughter. I vote yes.
Yeah, you and you alone are allowed to vote yes on this for vengeful reasons, Joanna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he did kill her whole family.
You and you alone.
So do I, says Anabaria almost indifferently. Let them have a taste of their own medicine.
She didn't give a fuck. She's too busy sharpening her teeth, which every time I think about that, I feel physically uncomfortable.
I don't think I've ever spoken for Anabaria before.
You haven't because she hasn't had any lines.
Made her up.
Lines, I say like it's a script.
Lines. This is why we rebelled, remember? Peeta looks at the rest of us. Annie? I vote no with Peeta.
God bless her. I forgot Annie was here.
She says. So would Finnick if he were here. But he isn't, because Snow's Mutts killed him. Joanna reminds her.
Joanna, you're on thin ice, buddy.
No, says BT. It would set a bad precedent. We have to stop viewing one another as enemies.
I love this nerd.
At this point, unity is essential for our survival. No, we're down to Katniss and Haymitch, says Coin. Was it like this then? 75 years or so ago? Did a group of people sit around and cast their votes on initiating the Hunger Games? Was there dissent? Did someone make a case for mercy that was beaten down by the calls for the deaths of the district's children? Probably. That's me saying that. The scent of Snow's rose curls up in my nose. The scent of Snow's rose curls up into my nose.
This is Dr. Seuss now.
I do not like it, Sam I am. I do not like the games.
No.
I would not do them in a coat. I would not do them on a boat. The scent of Snow's rose curls up into my nose, down into my throat, squeezing it tight with despair. All those people I loved, dead. And we are discussing the next Hunger Games in an attempt to avoid wasting life. Nothing has changed. Nothing will ever change now. I weigh my options carefully, think everything through. Keeping my odds on the rose, I say, I vote yes for Prim.
Which is, a nice double meaning.
It's a great double meaning because we're meant to assume.
I was too busy screaming and tearing my hair out to get it.
Well, I mean, I think that's everyone's reaction. They're
Yes.
like, what?
Also, I'm used to Katniss misunderstanding situations.
Yeah. And maybe she's finally had enough, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she's finally like, yeah, let 13-year-olds die, whatever.
Oh, boy.
Maybe we've broken her, right?
No.
And yeah, but what she really means is, Gus,
Fuck you, Coin. You're going to get got.
yeah, I know you killed my sister, you absolute ass.
And I need to trick you into thinking that I'm fully team Coin is cool. So I can pop you one.
And Coin says, hey, Mitch, it's up to you. A furious PETA hammers Haymitch with the atrocity he could become party to, but I can feel Haymitch watching me.
I love this guy.
Because, I think Haymitch definitely knows also. I think he does.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's why more than anything he's went back to drinking. Because he did seem like he was doing well, actually, up until that moment. And then suddenly he was like way in the bottle again.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no,
And I'm
we're back
like,
where we started.
I think he's like, we're back where we fucking started. This purpose that I found is actually a lie. And now I think he is looking at Katniss like, has she fallen for it? Because I imagine that he didn't tell Katniss, right, about his theory. This is my secret theory.
Yeah, go ahead.
I imagine he didn't tell Katniss about this because he was like, well, there's nothing that can be done at this point, right?
Yeah.
Other than, and if she knows, it will just get her killed.
Yeah.
Right? Because she will freak out at Coin and get killed.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So he's looking at her. This is the moment then when we find out exactly just how alike we are and how much he truly understands me. I'm with the Mockingjay, he says.
Good way to word it, bud. Even if I did put the book in the freezer at this point.
Woody Harrelson does a really good job at this scene, by the way.
In what?
In something. Excellent. That carries the vote. Now we really must take our places for the execution. As she passes me, I hold up the glass with the rose. Can you see that Snow's wearing this just over his heart? So theatrical. But she knows, Snow would have wanted it this way.
Yeah, he would have. He's thrilled
theatrical.
about this.
Coin smiles. Of course. And I'll make sure he knows about the games. Yeah, because here's the thing. I feel like Katniss partially did this and agreed to this because she's like, I need Coin to not be suspicious that I might be onto her and have it in for her.
Yeah.
Because if what I'm planning to do works out, if she's worried about me and what I could do, I might not be able to get to her. But if she's unawares and taken by surprise, I'll be able to probably shoot her.
Mm-hmm.
Katniss says, thank you. So they do the execution, which of course is going to be televised.
Well, yeah, in this series?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people are like spilling into down the side streets. And because, I can't think of a more fun thing to do than watch an execution. I don't know. To me, I'm like, that
It's Rome.
would never be something I would want to do.
I get it. It's Rome.
So I walk to my position, accompanied by the deafening roar of the crowd. As directed, I turn so they see me in profile and wait. When they march Snow out the door, the audience goes insane. They secure his hands behind a post, which is unnecessary. He's not going anywhere. There's nowhere to go. This is not the roomy stage before the training center, but the narrow terrace in front of the president's mansion. No wonder no one bothered to have me practice. He's 10 yards away. I feel the bow purring in my hand. Reach back and grasp the arrow. Position it. Aim at the rose. But watch his face. He coughs and a bloody dribble runs down his chin. His tongue flicks over his puffy lips. I search his eyes for the slightest sign of anything. Fear, remorse, anger. But there's only the same look of amusement that ended our last conversation. It's as if he's speaking the words again. Oh, my dear Miss Everdeen. I thought we had agreed not to lie to each other.
Great line.
He's right. We did. The point of my arrow shifts upward, and I will never...
Oh, God, that was a great moment.
I will never forget this moment. The point of my arrow shifts upward. I release the string, and President Coin collapses over the side of the balcony and plunges to the ground.
Get her.
Dead.
Get her. Oh, she's the worst.
Gus.
Yes.
When was the moment that you started to feel like this was what she was going to do?
I was hopeful, but I didn't really click into it until like 2 seconds before because I was too busy being sad.
Yeah.
But then she gets to, we're not going to lie to each other. And I went, oh, she's going to shoot Coin.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. Oh, God, it's great. Fuck Coin. Coin is the goddamn worst. We talked about how her name is probably Coin because she's the other side of the coin.
Yeah, probably.
And God, she's the worst. And now she's dead. And we put, apropos of nothing, I'm just going to say the name Gwendolyn Christie in charge instead. Don't know what reference I'm making. I'm not referring to anything.
Pay your artists.
Pay your actors.
And writers, too.
And the writers.
It's fucking about time. Get yours. Chapter 27, Gus.
Yes!
In the stunned reaction that follows, I'm aware of one sound. Snow's laughter.
Okay, well.
How do you feel about that?
We'll let him have it. He's going to get beaten to death by the mob anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, he's dead either way. I think he's just happy Coin also didn't win, which frankly, so am I happy that Coin didn't win because Coin sucks.
Yeah, he's like, I took her out with me. Excellent. Now chaos rules.
Yeah.
The Lord of Chaos, as you will. An awful gurgling cackle accompanied by an eruption of foamy blood when the coughing begins. I see him bend forward, spewing out his life, until the guards block him from my sight. As the gray uniforms begin to converge on me, I think of what my brief future as the assassin of Panem's new president holds. The interrogation, probable torture, certain public execution, having yet again to say my final goodbyes to a handful of people who still maintain a hold on my heart. The prospect of facing my mother, who will now be entirely alone in the world, decides it. Good night. I whisper to the bow in my hand and feel it go still.
Ah, the magic bow.
I raise my left arm and twist my neck down to rip off the pill on my sleeve. Instead, my teeth sink into flesh.
I cried.
Why?
Because he protected her. He did it. He was like, I'm not going to let you do it. And it made me sad but happy.
Yeah, he stopped her from hurting herself.
Well, this is why she quite literally cannot survive without him.
I mean, truly, she just...
At this point in her life.
Truly could not.
Yes.
Yeah. I yanked back.
Oh, God, it's so sweet.
You're a sweet bread boy.
I love him.
How do you feel about him now?
Come full circle and he lived.
She saved him and he saved her.
It made me so happy.
I feel like this is also the moment where he's like, wait, there's no way the Tracker Jackers could be right, that she's terrible because she took out the woman trying to do second Hunger Games.
Yeah. Although, he does comment, we do get in the epilogue, like, he still has times where he has to, like, you can't just fix trauma.
I mean, what I like about this series is Suzanne Collins does not hand wave trauma. She's not like, they're all fine.
Yes.
She's like, we struggle and we're doing our best.
You usually, even if you have like a grand revelation on the mountaintop or something, usually that doesn't fix it forever. It helps you understand it better, right?
Yeah, you can be kind of at peace with it. I mean, I feel like trauma is kind of like, for a long time, it feels like a monster.
Yeah.
That lives in you, right? And you keep trying to avoid the monster. My therapist also kind of talked to me about this. He's like, and your efforts to avoid the monster just makes the monster grow bigger and bigger. And then one day you just look at the monster and it's still a monster, but it's much smaller than the shadow that you've made in your head once you face the monster.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that like your trauma is not small, obviously, but it's like once you kind of greet it and go, yeah, this is part of me, it starts to hold less power over you, right? It starts to become something that you're like, this is part of me. And there are times where it may be a very big monster, but it is not a monster that I cannot survive. right? I can look at it and go, this is it. And the more awareness that you have that the monster is there, rather than trying to outrun the monster, the more awareness that you have that it's there, you can go, oh, that's the monster.
Yeah.
It's the monster. I know what it is. I've seen it. I've seen what it looks like. I have not, rather than like running from its shadow, which can take all kinds of grisly forms and shapes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I yank my head back in confusion and find myself looking into Peter's eyes, only now they hold my gaze. Blood runs from the teeth marks on the hand he clamped over my nightlock. Let me go! I snarl at him, trying to wrest my arm from his grasp. I can't, he says. As they pull me away from him, I feel the pocket ripped from my sleeve, see the deep violet pill fall to the ground, watch Cinna's last gift get crunched under a guard's boot. I transform into a wild animal, kicking, clawing, biting, doing whatever I can to free myself from the web of hands as the crowd pushes in. The guards lift me up above the fray, where I continue to thrash as I'm conveyed over the crush of people. I start screaming for Gale. Ugh. Let him go. We're done. I know you're traumatized, but we're done.
Well, she figures if I need someone to kill an Everdeen, who can I reliably count on?
I forgot that this is why she screams.
Who is great at causing the deaths of Everdeen girls? It's Gale.
It's Gale. I can't find him in the throng.
I've had enough of this dude.
I know, but he will know what I want. A good clean shot to end it all. Only there's no arrow, no bullet. Is it possible he can't see me? No, above us on the giant screens placed around the city circle, everyone can watch the whole thing being played out. He sees. He knows. But he doesn't follow through. In fairness to Gale, you didn't follow through either.
Yeah, you dropped the ball on that one.
You did drop the ball on that one, so, I mean, I guess turnabout. And she does admit this, just as I didn't when he was captured. Sorry excuses for hunters and friends, both of us. I'm on my own. So she gets pulled into the mansion, and she gets put in the room. She puts herself, they put her in her old room at the training center, which is where she lived during her last precious days before my first Hunger Games and the Quarter Quell. And the bed's stripped, closets open with nothing in it. So basically they've removed anything she could potentially hurt herself with.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
That is the right thing to do.
That is the right thing to do. And, you know, she takes a shower. She gets meals with pills. At first, she tries not to take the pills and, like, wants to, like, save enough pills to potentially do herself harm. I'm sure I'm being watched around the clock. Oh, she thinks it's possible I could hoard my pills and then knock myself off with a lethal dose, except that I'm sure I'm being watched around the clock. For all I know, I'm on live television at this very moment while commentators try to analyze what could possibly have motivated me to kill Coin.
How appropriate for this series.
The surveillance makes almost any suicide attempt impossible. Taking my life is the Capitol's privilege. Again. God, poor Katniss. I mean,
truly having the worst time.
Who knows? At any given point, I could be watched. That's not freaking scary.
Yes. Awful.
And hard.
Horrible.
No one's really meant to live that way,
no.
I think. With all eyes on them at all times.
No, it's terrible. God.
I mean, I just can't imagine being a celebrity and like walking into a pharmacy, like not even being able to go get like my prescription at the pharmacy because I could be accosted or unsafe. I mean,
no, that'd be horrible.
Anyway, listen, I know they're wealthy, but still, that's freaking like isolating.
So she
decides to give up for a while and she starts singing to herself.
Oh, right. This.
Oh, yeah. And she starts trying not to eat or like taking pills. They also start weaning her off of the morphling as she's in there, which is the right thing to do. And she keeps thinking they're, of course, going to execute her. She thinks, and then a terrible thought hits me. What if they're not going to kill me? What if they have more plans for me? A new way to remake, train, and use me? Well, and this is the problem with living for a particular moment.
Yeah, kind of rough.
Yeah. Because it's like, what do you do with the rest of your life? Which is why I think that when some people achieve something monumental in their lives, they're so miserable because they were living for that one moment rather than the summation of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that PETA was onto something about us destroying one another and letting some decent species take over. Because something is significantly wrong with the creature that sacrifices its children's lives to settle its differences.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy,
Any
oh
thoughts
boy,
about
oh boy.
that?
Yeah, Katniss, you're having a bad day. You need to take a nap and go to therapy.
It's one of those things where it's like, yes, human beings do really bad stuff. They do. And there's no really getting around that. But human beings also do really good stuff.
Yes.
And so it's like the answer is both.
It's God damn it. A certain show that I can't talk about.
Yeah.
So say we all.
Well, Hank Green on TikTok talks about, other species, if they gained sentience, probably wouldn't be doing much better than we are.
Yes.
We're monkeys that gain sentience, but like raccoons that gain sentience, or God forbid, dolphins that get sentience,
Yes.
would not be necessarily better. And, the summation of human existence so far is actually trending positively.
Yes. Probably. It's complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
But, the answer is it's complicated.
Yeah.
You can spin it any way you like. Snow thought the Hunger Games were an efficient means of control. Coin thought the parachutes would expedite the war. But in the end, who does it benefit? No one. The truth is, it benefits no one to live in a world where these things happen.
No. But don't worry, Katniss. It all works out fine because they elect what's-her-name president. And she's like, that was cool. Fuck Coin. You're great. You can go home.
Yeah.
In fact, you have to go home, right?
Well, Haymitch shows up and he says, your trial's over. Come on, we're going home.
I love this guy. This guy's great.
So they basically, here's, what's the rundown kind of what happened?
There was pandemonium.
Yeah. That's the exact word she uses.
Oh, really? It's pandemonium, which means a lot of demons, actually. Or many demons.
Oh, well, demon is in the word, so that makes sense.
Pandemonium.
But it's
Pandemon.
such a fun word to say.
It's a great word. And out of Plutarch is kind of like, yeah, right? He's just kind of like, well, there you go.
Yeah, Snow's dead.
And he argues in her defense at the trial, as I recall. Snow got killed because he coughed to death.
Or he got crushed by the crowd.
Or he got crowd crushed, one or the other.
It couldn't have happened to a worse person.
No, what a shame. We hate to see it. No, we don't. Fuck that
Rest
dude.
in pieces.
I believe I did scream, rest in piss, you fascist, when Coin died, which may have been a little much, but I don't care.
I don't think so.
And
she sucks. She wanted Katniss to die.
They had a
She killed
trial
Prim.
for Katniss for killing Coin, and the essential conclusion of it was, it's fine, let her go back to District 12, right?
Oh, yeah, and Dr. Aurelius also helped get her off.
Oh,
so
yes,
it was like
yes, yes,
Plutarch, Haymitch, and Dr. Aurelius got
Interesting
her
that
off.
Plutarch signed on to help.
Yeah.
It seems like he's kind of a stability is good guy now.
I think so. I mean, I think he's just kind of like, I think he's an opportunist.
Sure.
I think he's like, listen, I'm going to go the way that the wind is blowing.
Sure.
I think I think he just wants to make his little videos.
He is also an artiste.
Yeah, he just wants to make his little videos, and he's like, I don't really care who I'm making the little videos for.
Yeah.
As long as it's the person who's winning. The truth is, no one quite knows what to do with me now that the war's over. Although if another one should spring up, Plutarch's sure they could find a role for me. Then Plutarch has a good laugh. It never seems to bother him when no one else appreciates his jokes.
They have a conversation about this, don't they?
Yeah, she says, are you preparing for another war, Plutarch?
And he's like, well, it happens.
Oh, not now. Now we're in that sweet period where everyone agrees that our recent horrors should never be repeated. But collective thinking is usually short-lived. We're fickle, stupid beings with poor memories and a great gift for self-destruction. Although who knows? Maybe this will be it, Katniss. What? The time it sticks? Maybe we are witnessing the evolution of the human race. Think about that. So, yeah. And then he asks me if I'd like to perform on a new singing program he's launching in a few weeks. So they're just making American Idol.
Oh, my God.
And he tells her not to be a stranger.
Okay. So she goes back to District 12 with Haymitch and is sad for quite a while. She has several pages where she's depressed, which makes sense. It is thematically appropriate. Yeah. And then one day she hears digging and she goes outside and Peeta's planting primroses. And the way that they worded this, it was, I see him, and I clenched every muscle in my body. I was like, I swear to fucking fuck. If him is Gale, the freezers are coming. But it was not.
It was not. Yes. So she wakes up. Yeah. The scraping of the shovel continues. Still half in the nightmare because she has a nightmare that she's being buried alive.
Yes.
I run down the hall, out the front door, and around the side of the house, because I'm pretty sure I can scream at the dead. When I see him, I pull up short. His face is flushed from digging up the ground under the windows. In a wheelbarrow are 5 scraggly bushes. You're back. Dr. Aurelius wouldn't let me leave the capital until yesterday, Peter says.
I love this kid.
By the way, he said to tell you he can't keep pretending he's treating you forever. You have to pick up the phone. Because the court ordered that Dr. Aurelius keep treating Katniss.
Oh, yeah. That's
indefinitely.
Funny.
He looks well, thin and covered with burn scars like me, but his eyes have lost that clouded, tortured look. He's frowning slightly, though, as he takes me in. I make a half-hearted effort to push my hair out of my eyes and realize it's matted into clumps. I feel defensive. What are you doing? I went to the woods this morning and dug these up for her. I thought we could plant them along the side of the house. I look at the bushes, the clods of dirt hanging from their roots, and catch my breath as the word rose registers. I'm about to yell vicious things at PETA when the full name comes to me.
Primrose.
Not plain rose, but evening primrose.
He's so thoughtful and perfect.
The flower my sister was named for. I give PETA a nod of assent and hurry back into the house, locking the door behind me. But the evil thing is inside, not out. Trembling with weakness and anxiety, I run up the stairs. My foot catches on the last step and I crash onto the floor. I force myself to rise and enter my room. The smell's very faint but still laces the air. It's there, the white rose among the dried flowers in the vase, shriveled and fragile, but holding on to that unnatural perfection cultivated in Snow's greenhouse.
Oh my God.
I grab the vase, stumble down to the kitchen, and throw its contents into the embers. As the flowers flare up, a burst of blue flame envelops the rose and devours it.
I love that. Beautiful image.
Fire beats roses again. I smash the vase on the floor for good measure. Could you imagine, though, from Peter's perspective? He doesn't know what's going on. So she runs out. She looks at him. She runs back in the house, burns some flowers, throws a vase on the floor, and then comes back outside.
Well, you know what? If I were him, I'd be like, yeah, you're going through something.
Yeah. You know what? I think they both don't have to even say anything to each other. Oh, by the way, who has been taking care of Katniss other than Haymitch, but the one, the only Gus?
Oh, Buttercup.
No, not yet. Your friend and mine,
PETA?
the legend, the
Effie?
fire survivor herself, despite all the odds, Greasy Say, Gus.
Oh,
That's
yeah!
right. It's Greasy Say. Anyway, Greasy Say.
She made it through.
She's made it through, and now she's back in 12, greasing away.
I just think it's wild they rebuilt 12.
Yeah. Yeah, they're rebuilding 12. And Katniss finds out that from her that Gale is working in District 2 and got some fancy job there.
Yeah, whatever.
And now and then he's on television.
Okay, fuck you, Gale. Have fun.
Yep, and everybody's
shit.
rebuilding, and she asks, and she walks around and sees people like shifting through the remains, and she asks Tom, who's Gale's old crewmate, who's working there, about Madge and her family, and unfortunately, Gus, they did pass away.
I was sad for little Miss 99.9%.
I know.
Yeah, man, she was cool.
I thought maybe since he was the mayor, I don't think being the mayor of 12 put the odds in his favor. So, yeah, he was definitely a target, right? They don't want the leaders surviving.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, it's sad.
Very sad.
Yeah.
She did a lot. She provided the Mockingjay pin. She was good people. She was nice.
Yeah.
Maisley was her mom. It's a beautiful denouement. Is this when the cat comes and everybody starts crying?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. This is the part where I started crying. Not the cat part specifically, but in this section where she thinks about all the people who have perished and all the people who persevere. And the cat part, my God, is it well written.
Yeah. It's Suze really went, you think I can't land this plane, Gus?
Watch this, idiot.
Watch me land this fucking plane. My head snaps around at the hiss, but it takes a while to believe he's real. How could he have gotten here? I take in the claw marks from some wild animal, the back paw he holds slightly above the ground, the prominent bones in his face. He's come on foot then, all the way from 13. Maybe they kicked him out, or maybe he just couldn't stand it there without her. So he came looking. It was the waste of a trip. She's not here, I tell him. Buttercup hisses again. She's not here. You can hiss all you want. You won't find Prim. At her name, he perks up. raises his flattened ears, begins to meow hopefully. Get out! He dodges the pillow I throw at him. Go away! There's nothing left for you here. I start to shake, furious with him. She's not coming back. She's never, ever coming back here again. I grab another pillow and get to my feet to improve my aim. Out of nowhere, the tears begin to pour down my cheeks. She's dead. I clutch my middle to dull the pain, sink down on my heels, rocking the pillow, crying. She's dead, you stupid cat. She's dead. A new sound. Jesus. Bart crying.
I know.
Ah!
I know. Do you
I
need
thought
me
I
to
was
read
going to
it?
get through this fine. No, I got it. I can do it.
Okay.
A new sound, part crying, part singing, comes out of my body, giving voice to my despair. Buttercup begins to wail as well. No matter what I do, he won't go. He circles me just out of reach, as wave after wave of sob racks my body, until eventually I fall unconscious. But he must understand. He must know that the unthinkable has happened, and to survive will require previously unthinkable acts. Because hours later, when I come to in my bed, he's there in the moonlight, crouched beside me, yellow eyes alert, guarding me from the night. In the morning, he sits stoically as I clean the cuts, but digging the thorn from his paw brings on a round of those kitten mews. We both end up crying again.
Oh.
Only this time we comfort each other. On the strength of this, I open the letter Hamish gave me from my mother, dial the phone number, and weep with her as well. Oh, yeah. Wow, it does. She does have a resolution with her mom.
Yeah, she does have a conversation and a relationship with
I
her
don't know
mom.
why the 16-year-old me came away with this going, Kudzu abandoned her. What a fuck.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we were talking about all this earlier, I was like, I just listened to this. I'm pretty sure that's not what happened.
And 30-year-old me missed it as well.
Yeah.
Until I read it out loud. Wow. Okay. I'll talk to my therapist about that. I'm just kidding. And then Peter shows up with bread.
My guy.
Slowly, with many lost days, I come back to life. I try to follow Dr. Aurelius's advice, just going through the motions, amazed when one finally has meaning again. I tell him my idea about the book, and a large apartment of sheets arrives on the next train from the capital. I got the idea from our family's plant book, the place where we recorded those things you cannot trust to memory. The page begins with the person's picture, a photo if we can find it, if not a sketch or painting by PETA. Then in my most careful handwriting come all the details it would be a crime to forget.
Now, at first, when this was happening, I went, oh, is she doing the Sam Gamgee thing? Where, like, she wrote the book?
Oh.
And I'm glad it's not that, because it's not that I dislike that trope. I don't dislike that trope, but I do think it needs a bit of a rest.
This is better.
Yes.
This is better because this is for her.
Yes.
And I think so much, this is the point, is that it would have been more voyeurism.
Yes.
It would have been more things that she was giving away.
Yes.
And
I like this.
she's doing for her to preserve her memories of what she's lost.
Yes.
So that the things that she does get become sweeter.
Yes. It's very sweet.
Yeah. Lady licking Prim's cheek, my father's laugh, Peter's father with the cookies, the color of Finnick's eyes, what Cinna could do with a length of silk, Boggs reprogramming the hollow, Rue poised on her toes, arms slightly extended like a bird about to take flight. On and on. We seal the pages with salt water and promises to live well to make their deaths count. Hamish finally joins us, contributing 23 years of tributes he was forced to mentor.
God.
Editions become smaller. An old memory that surfaces. A late primrose preserved between the pages.
I know. Now, when they mentioned,
I can do it.
when she talked about, it's okay, take a second.
I got it.
This is the part where I fully broke down.
Fuck. Okay. Strange bits of happiness, like the photo of Finnick and Annie's newborn son.
I sobbed. That caught me so off guard. Oh my God, did I
got you
weep.
right in the soft bit. You were not seeing that one coming.
No, I was not seeing that one coming.
Oh, fuck.
It's a good ending, man. It's a good chapter.
We learn to keep busy again. Peter bakes, I hunt. Hamish drinks until the liquor runs out, and then raises geese until the next train arrives. Fortunately, the geese can take pretty good care of themselves.
Good.
We're not alone. A few hundred others return because, whatever has happened, this is our home. With the mines closed, they plow the ashes into the earth and plant food. machines which they weren't allowed to do before.
Oh, right.
The capital controlled the food.
Dumb.
Machines from the capital break ground for a new factory where we will make medicines. Although no one seeds it, the meadow turns green again. PETA and I grow back together. There are still moments when he clutches the back of a chair and hangs on until the flashbacks are over. I wake screaming from nightmares of mutts and lost children, but his arms are there to comfort me, and eventually his lips. On the night I feel that thing again, the hunger that overtook me on the beach. I know this would have happened anyway, that what I need to survive is not Gale's fire, kindled with rage and hatred. I have plenty of fire myself. What I need is the dandelion in the spring. Fuck you, Sue.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
I know, man. I know.
Fuck. Okay. I'm getting through it.
I know.
I will be
here.
fine.
It's okay. You're going to be all right. Oh, man.
Jesus Christ. It's good crying.
Yes.
The bright yellow that means rebirth instead of destruction. The promise that life can go on, no matter how bad our loss is. That it can be good again. Fuck. I mean, just this week in particular, it's really fucking hard.
I know.
And only PETA can give me that. So after, when he whispers, "You love me, real or not real,"
Oh, God, this part.
I tell him, real.
Real. It's good.
Jesus. Okay, any thoughts?
It's really good. I am not disappointed that she ended up with somebody, even though I was also team Katniss doesn't need a guy, because I think that this is great.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me,
Well,
and we'll get to the babies ever after of it all and the discussion about that.
yes.
But I think for me, why I like that she ends up with somebody when I'm normally very much team no one,
Yes.
because she doesn't need a man to complete her. I think in this particular instance, when she's lost so much and she started so alone, like Prim really was her only source of comfort, right?
Yeah, she had very little in the way of actual family or people she could depend on, or people who depended on her in a non-caretaker way.
Yeah.
You know?
She had Prim and she had Gale.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, Gale, whatever. I forgot about him.
But like now I think, but she really did kind of start alone.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that she is in a place, and I think that the fact that she is in a place in which she's kind of creating actually this like family and community rather than being alone.
Yeah, especially because she has sought solitude so much throughout the books, that the fact that she is in a place where she can be open to a relationship and where she can be open to connection, and she can, I think it's more that she can trust somebody else to have a connection with them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's less that I wanted her to be coupled up or anything, and it's more that she has reached, and we'll talk about this in a second. We'll talk about the epilogue. PETA didn't fix her, right?
No.
PETA being
and
there.
She didn't fix PETA.
Yeah, PETA being there and being in a relationship with her didn't fix her, right? Her win is not that she marries or gets PETA. Her win is that the Hunger Games are over and the world is a better place.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the thing that is helpful to me too is that, I mean, when she started, no one was putting Katniss first.
Never.
No, not even Katniss, right? Like her first act is to give herself up for her sister. Like Prim obviously adored her and would do anything for her, but like Katniss was the caretaker of Prim, right? And like would not ever see herself as someone who could rely on Prim to care for her, right?
Yeah.
No, she would never do that, right?
No.
Because she felt responsible for her. Gale was certainly never going to put Katniss first.
No.
Right?
Well,
the only times that he like helped her was, as he kind of admitted himself, kind of selfishly motivated.
Yeah, or even like, I don't think he was saying retroactively, I only ever took care of your sister so that we could bone. But I think he was saying essentially, well, that was all I had left.
Yeah.
You know? And now I don't even have that. And whereas PETA shows up apropos of nothing and starts doing landscaping, and not in a creepy stalker or anything way, just because he's like, she is not in a position right now where where she can take care of herself.
Yeah.
You know, because she is deep in the throes of broken trauma, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like he just shows up and kind of is around, and I truly don't think he's like hoping or doing this for this. The difference is he's not doing this for the purpose of I think that she will fall for me, because that would be nice guy shit. But he's not. He's
genuinely
I really
a nice
don't think
guy.
he is. He's genuinely just like, I care deeply about her. I want her to be happy. I know that she's happy to have me around. I know she's comfortable with me around, and she welcomes my presence, so I will be here.
Yeah.
Not necessarily as a romantic partner. He's not going to say no to that if it develops that way. But like he centers her experience so well, to the extent that I would almost be like, Katniss, you could center his experience a little, as I've said many times, of course, in this book.
Yeah.
Like, Katniss, you can hold a little more space for the man himself, but
yeah, I mean, no, here's what it is. It's that he will always put the cause first.
Gale?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to always put the cause first. And I don't think Katniss at this point in time needs a cause. I think she needs peace.
Yes.
Right? I think she needs to be left to find whatever happiness she can scrape out of a world that's taken so much from her. And she can find that. And she does find that. And I think, and obviously Kudzu was not in a place. I mean, normally a parent would be the one to put you first, and she didn't. And what's nice, I think, and we don't know a lot about what Peeta's home life was like, but we did see his mom, who seemed like a real treat, and certainly neither of his brothers really did much to protect him during the Hunger Games debacle. So, and listen, not necessarily knocking them, they are kids, but we're not happy they died, but no. I think he probably, it's nice that the two of them who have had so much taken from them and who have had had their personhoods like stripped away and haven't in their like youths and as children had anyone put them first, for them to be able to find each other and put each other first.
Yeah.
Is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, the reason why I'm really okay with this is the relationship with Peeta doesn't fix her. Once she puts herself back together, she chooses to enter a relationship with Peeta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like his first act of coming back is to try to help her heal.
Yeah.
And like genuinely, like he doesn't make a big show of it. He doesn't like come in and go, I'm here to help you heal. He does something. I mean, she might have slept through the whole thing.
Yes.
But he's trying to do something that will help her. And like that alone is gorgeous, is just beautiful. To be doing something selfless for someone else.
Yeah.
Because you love them.
Yeah. And we can talk now, I think, because we're already talking about, we can talk about the epilogue, which you told me there was one controversial thing, and it turns out that it's that they have children. And I understand that the criticism of this is because of the trope, which is called babies ever after, which is that a lot of the time when you have a story that especially has a female protagonist, at the end they will flash forward and she has kids and it has given her purpose and she is happy. And yes, I understand that, and I get that is not like a particularly, for lack of a better term, feminist trope, I guess, in a very one-dimensional way. I'm trying to be loose and accept all interpretations and all sort of premises of the word, but
yeah, I mean, it's
not that it can't be, not that having kids isn't, and you know what I'm trying to say.
It's the idea that motherhood completes women,
yes.
right, and like fixes them.
Yes,
it's just like how there's this assumption that partners fix each other.
Right.
And really, that's not it. You finding your partner in life is not a sudden cure-all for the things that you've endured.
Right. Hence why, again, it wasn't Peeta came back and we fell in love and I got better. It was Peeta was around, and over the course of a very long time,
yeah, our trust and our bond formed to such a point that we became romantically involved.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. That you can trust someone after all of that. And that's the beauty of it. You can trust someone after all of that to be open enough to be that vulnerable with someone.
Yeah. And in a similar vein, while this has on its surface the literal elements of a quote unquote babies ever after ending, the babies don't complete Katniss and they don't fix Katniss. And it is not like I've achieved everything and I have children. I really don't see it that way, but I understand why people have a problem with it. And I understand that people have a problem with it in no small part because Katniss has spent a lot of the book talking about how she doesn't want kids. But to my understanding, she didn't want kids because she thought they might get reaped.
Yeah.
So
she didn't want them in the world that she lived in.
So this to me is much less of a I'm happy now, so I will have children and I will throw away my values and I will do the womanly thing and and it feels much more to me like the world is a different place. I am reevaluating my priorities. I am rethinking everything, and I'm not, like running through a meadow happy with my children. I'm still scared for them.
Yeah.
But this is a world where this is now something that I thought I never would have wanted is something that I want. And I understand also that Pete is a line that I did kind of go about, which is where she talks about how PETA had always wanted kids and eventually she agreed. And I'm like, I wouldn't have worded it that way, but I understand. But I also am like, guys, it's PETA. PETA is not pressuring her into having children. PETA, if I know PETA, and I think I do because I've read these books.
It's our bread boy.
It's our bread boy. PETA would be like, this is a thing that is on the table for me. I understand if that's not on the table for you, but if it changes, if that comes on the table for you, let me know. Because I just don't see PETA pressuring her into having kids.
No.
I don't see that.
That did not happen.
I just simply cannot picture that with the character who has done everything else that he's done.
Yeah.
So I understand that criticism.
Yeah.
I really do think that this is a very different use of that story element that really like 2% bothers me, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think perhaps,
especially this is 20 years later.
Yeah. I think
or
perhaps
like 15 years later.
Yeah. I think perhaps Suzanne Collins would have altered the wording of one or two sentences.
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah, for sure.
But, I think on the whole, it's more symbolic of Katniss's trust that the world has changed.
Yeah.
And that they have won.
Yeah. I would have been equally happy had she not had kids. But I do understand, or I do interpret this as exactly what you are saying.
Yeah. Some of this makes me think of, and I'm going to bastardize this so badly because she's such an amazing writer, but Cheryl Strayed compiled this list that she used to be an advice columnist for, I think it's called the Rumpus or the Ruckus.
It's Dear Sugar, right?
Yeah, she was Dear Sugar, and for a long time she was an anonymous columnist and then eventually came out of Sugar when she stopped being Sugar. But she compiled a lot of the advice that she gave, and this one centered around this like really beautiful story in which she was teaching some students, and several of them were dealing with really horrific things at home, and it made her realize how broken the system is for kids like this. And she and one of them came to her with a problem, and she knew that the system would not help them, and so she basically told them, like, listen, there's not help that can necessarily come externally, so you get to decide though what your life becomes. You can lean into the shit and have your life always be shit, right? And just give into it. Or you can seek joy. And that is a really hard thing to do. And you are going to have to reach for it. You're going to have to reach like hell. But you can do it. And I feel like that's what this is for Katniss.
Yeah.
Is it's like, she is not, it's no one person, right? Like Cheryl Strayed said, no one can fix it.
No.
But you have to reach for it. Not saying that it's like necessarily your responsibility, but you do get a choice in the wake of your choices being taken away of like, am I going to reach for something better?
Yeah.
And it's really fucking hard, but you can do it. And I think that Katniss did it. And that's not children, right? Obviously her children do not cure her or
they
PETA. And PETA and Katniss do not cure each other, but it's the fact that they are supporting one another in that reaching that is so beautiful.
Yeah. And if anything, she seems like she very much is still healing from her things. And it's not like having kids did anything about that healing. It was simply kind of as a result almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't know. I like it. I get it, but I like it.
Yeah. On that note, shall we read the epilogue?
Do it.
I don't think I'm going to read all of it, but maybe I will end up doing it anyway. They play in the meadow.
Don't they sing a song?
Yeah, well, which I will not be reading.
Yeah.
I will not be singing
all respect, no.
Yeah. This is kind of my thing about songs in general in books, and I so respect them being there. I do. And I know that a lot of time they're thematically necessary, and a lot of time I get it. But oftentimes I will see italics and a particular spacing in a book, and I'm like, I am not going to read that. I will hopefully pick up whatever I needed to glean from that in context clues. And it's just a weird thing about me. I'm like, nope, if I can't listen to it, I can't read a song. It freaks me out. I don't know why. There's like something about it. I'm like, I should be listening to this, but it's written. It's something wrong with me, probably. Okay, epilogue. They play in the meadow. The dancing girl with the dark hair and blue eyes. The boy with blonde curls and gray eyes. Struggling to keep up with her on his chubby toddler legs. Okay, first of all, just their appearances alone are a mix of both of them. They created
cute.
this future together, and it's like nice. Anyway, sorry.
And they are quite literally emblematic of the future that they created together.
Yes, I think I will argue they needed to be here. I will argue they needed to be here.
Yeah.
This is the only book I think that gets away with it for me that I've read so far.
Yeah, I mean,
They needed to be here because of the thing with the children and this and that.
And also, I mean, the whole book is about they're killing the children.
They're killing the children.
And now the children get to run through a meadow that they didn't know was a graveyard, which is so fucking good. Is that they're running around on what was once, many people died, and that's a beautiful meadow. And that's not like we've forgotten our history. I don't think that's the point. It's like, look at what we have now. And that's the thing, too, is they learn about it.
They learn about it.
I just really like these books, you guys.
Again, the only thing that keeps history from repeating
is learning
about it, which is why critical race theory is important. Anyway.
Yes, it is.
Okay, fuck. They just don't want people recognizing their grandparents in the pictures. That's my opinion.
It's true.
They don't want their children going, isn't that Mema? Anyway. That's my opinion. Okay. It took 5, 10, 15 years for me to agree, but PETA wanted them so badly. That line, I think, would have been changed.
That line, you could do something else with that.
When I first felt her stirring inside of me, I was consumed with a terror that felt as old as life itself. Only the joy of holding her in my arms could tame it. I will get through this. I will. I will. Carrying him was a little easier, but not much. The questions are just beginning. The arenas have been completely destroyed. The memorials built. There are no more Hunger Games. But they teach about them at school. And the girl knows we played a role in them. The boy will know in a few years. How can I tell them about that world without frightening them to death? My children, who take the words of the song for granted. And it's the Meadow song.
Yeah.
That she sang to Rue. My children who don't know they play on a graveyard. PETA says it will be okay. We have each other and the book, and we can make them understand in a way that will make them braver. But one day I'll have to explain about my nightmares, why they came, why they won't ever really go away. I'll tell them how I survive it. I'll tell them that on bad mornings, it feels impossible to take pleasure in anything because I'm afraid it could be taken away. That's when I make a list in my head of every act of goodness I've seen someone do.
Hang in there. You're going to get through it. It's okay. I know. It's beautiful.
Fucking fuck.
I know.
I'm fine. It's like a game. Repetitive. Even a little tedious after more than 20 years. But there are worse games to play.
That's a great last line.
Suze, with her fucking endings, I swear to God.
Just gets
she's
you
so
right
good
in
at
the
it.
heart. Right in the heart every time.
She just knows how to end a chapter. She just knows.
You got to loudly and dramatically close the book right next to the thing.
Is the end. of the Hunger Games trilogy.
I liked it. I would recommend this series. It gets 10 breads out of 10.
After us sobbing uncontrollably.
Very good. Not going in the freezer.
Going in the freezer for the emotional damage that it has inflicted on us.
Yes.
But in the best way possible.
Yes. I loved this. This was great. I have very little to say that I have not already said, except that I think it's fucking phenomenal. I'm kind of glad I didn't read it when I was a kid, so I could read it now.
Yeah, I do think it just hits so, I mean, and this is not to take away from, you know, the emotional and mental maturity of a 16-year-old, because obviously there are 16-year-olds exist who have been through way more than any of us can even comprehend. But, like, I think your average 16-year-old is going to understand it on a certain level. And then I think sometimes there are things that just being around a long time gives you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just think it's beautiful. I think the ending is unbelievable. I think Suzanne Collins, like, fuck you in the best way. In the, like, and that's a compliment to her amazing writing. Actually, very rarely, because I have a wall. Very rarely do books make me cry. I am a crier, but, like, I think I do try to hold things at a distance. And so, I mean, man, this book really got to me.
Yeah,
wow.
This was real good.
This was real good.
I realize it's not eloquent.
Sometimes this podcast falls on, like, the most interesting times, like where we'll be reading something that feels just so relevant to things going on in our lives or the world at large. And whew, was this one of them?
Yes, it was.
Wow. Anyway, Suzanne, fuck you, but also, wow. Fuck you, positive. Yeah. So, Gus.
Allie.
We're going to take a break.
We're going to take a week off. I know we just were sick, but, like, we need a minute.
Yeah, we need a minute. We are people.
Yeah.
Gus, I think we're allowed.
And to be fair, we are
people.
starting Crossroads of Twilight on Friday.
Yes.
So you have that to look forward to.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break for a week to cry into our pillows, and then we will be back.
And also because we have to finish catching up on a bunch of other recording, mostly Wheel of Time show that we can't release yet.
That we can't release yet, but hopefully we'll be able to soon.
Yes.
Pay your artists. But the next time we will be recording, which is the week after that, we will be doing chapters 1 through 5 of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Both Gus and I will be reading it for the first time together.
It should be a fun experiment.
It should be a really fun experiment. The lovely people on our Discord have done the breakdowns of when we should be reading what. So, yeah, super excited to dive in and do something we've never done before.
I like change.
You know,
Definitely.
after almost 4 years of doing this together, I feel like it's nice to mix things up a little bit.
It'll be good. I'm excited. It's going to be weird. But yeah, for now, you wanna close this out?
Yeah, and I'm sorry for all of the, like,
Oh no, you had an
sniffling.
emotional response to a book designed to evoke an emotional response.
It's true. How dare I? Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We are Wheel Takes Podcast. If you would like to stay in touch with us, we have a merch store, we have social media. All of those details are listed below. If you want to help spread the word about us, you can leave us a rating or a review. It always makes our day and really brings awareness to the fact that we exist. In addition to that,
that's it.
No, we also have a Patreon if you
shit.
want to support us that way. The podcast is free, but we do give you some little bonusy things, and also it helps us do stupid things like feed our dogs. So, you know.
Yeah.
Always a good thing. So, yeah. Anything else, Gus? Our final one for the Hunger Games trilogy.
If the hanging tree turns out to be the literal Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I will be very, very confused.
We're about to find out. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.